What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Mile High Hockey. Will and Mike with you as always. And Mike, as the Avalanche's game against the Stars creeps closer on Sunday, it feels like the narrative of what's the reaction from Mikko Rantanen going to be grows by the day. And you go to social media, I'm sure the text line on your radio show, like this thing is split. Should he get booed? Should he get cheered? When should he get booed? When should he get cheered? Seems like Avs fans are really thinking about Sunday afternoon and how they want to welcome back Mikko Rantanen to Ball Arena.
Well, let's I guess before we get to the reaction, let's get to the cause. Do you feel that Mikko was a guy who, like Nolan Arenado, like Carmelo Anthony, wanted out of here? Or was this a case of a guy who really wanted it to work here, but circumstances led to him having to be moved? Because there's a difference, right? I mean, if you're going to give him the Nolan or Melo treatment, you have to feel like you're looking at a guy who really wanted out of here. And I never really got that sense. Did you?
No, I didn't get that sense either, but I do think once he was traded, Mike, that's when he was really ticked off and wanted to stick it to the Avalanche. I believe him genuine when he gets traded late January and he says, we had 6 more weeks to figure out a deal. I think that was honest. I think he fully intended to figure out a deal in those 6 weeks. But at the same time, once they traded him, he did become a malcontent in Carolina because he didn't want to be there. And he wanted to go back to a team like the Dallas Stars, basically the Avalanche's rival, and then stick it to the Avs. So that's why the situation is so unique. If you go to a time machine 2 months ago, Mikko intended to be an Av his whole career. But the day they traded to him, he was mad at the Avs and was mad at Chris MacFarland and wanted to stick it to the organization. And I think that's what makes the situation, again, more unique than Melo or Nolan.
So you think this was him? You think he went to Dallas to stick it to the Avs, or did he go to Dallas because he realized that the market that he was looking at might be drying up and that his value was starting to plummet? And so it wasn't so much I'm looking to stick it to the Avs. It's like, hey, if this team's willing to give me the number that I ended up getting, I'm going to be interested in them.
So you think it was just a coincidence that the Dallas Stars, the team that's knocked the Avs out of playoffs twice in the last 5 years, twice with Mikko on the team, it was just a perfectly coincidence that was the 1 out of 31 teams that would pay? I can't buy that. I think there was an extra layer of he knew if he went to Dallas, the Avs would be annoyed by the situation.
All right, maybe. Either way, back to your original question, I wouldn't boo him. I wouldn't. I look at a guy like that. He is on the very, very short list of reasons why you want another Stanley Cup. And I never want to get to the point where I think Stanley Cups are so common that I'm going to look at the people that were instrumental in delivering one of these and just say, yeah, that contribution was fine. It was fine, but it wasn't that big of a deal. It was a cup. And this guy was a huge, huge part of it. Okay, it didn't work out the way that we wanted to. I'm not saying I'm going to go out of my way to stand up in my chair and give him a 5-minute standing ovation, but I'm not going to boo him. I'm not going to boo him. I just think that's going a little bit too far.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I think a standing O after the tribute video is warranted for sure. But there's talk of let's boo him every time he touches the puck. Like the clown.
The Cale Makar. He gets the Cale Makar in Seattle treatment?
Exactly. Or as fans did to Todd Bertuzzi, which that was obviously warranted all those years ago with what happened to Steve Moore. That's a lot different than you traded a guy who thought he had 6 more weeks. Like, guys, if we're going to boo Mikko Rantanen every time he touches the puck, you kind of talk about a distraction to your own team in some extent. I think the Avs players will be like, what is our fan base doing? This guy helped us win a cup. They're going to dinner together on Saturday night. I think that would be over the top to boo him every time he touches.
Well, and the other thing too is that it's not like the Avalanche when they traded him, it was like, man, we just did not want to do this. We did not want to trade him, and he forced our hand. You heard Chris McFarland right after they made the trade. Hey, we needed this for salary cap flexibility. We needed this to be able to go out and improve our roster depth. And what did they do with the trade? They did just that with the acquisition of Marty Necas and Jack Drury. So if I'm an Avalanche fan, why am I going to be mad and have continued animosity towards Mikko Rantanen when this was a trade that the Avalanche, they made their own business decision. They did it eyes wide open. They did it willingly, and they were able to make a trade that was very beneficial for them. So for an Avalanche fan, maybe you should just look at it like, hey, Mikko, thank you for everything you did, but we're better off right now. And good luck to you, but we're in a good spot right now, and we're happy.
Well, that was always my thing with McFarland of like, if you're going to trade him, the team's got to be better than before you traded him. And it took him to the buzzer of the deadline, but with the additions of Brock Nelson and Charlie Coyle and Lindgren, like he did end up doing it. The Avs are getting national credit, and McFarland is for quote unquote remaking the roster. All right, I want to tell our audience that it's that time of year again when everybody's getting ready to fill out their brackets. Well, the good news for you is that you have a chance to win $5,000 if you have that winning bracket. Head to denversports.com/bracket to sign up for our 5K bracket challenge. It is presented by Twin Peaks and Rocks Heating and Air. The entry obviously closes before the first game on March 20th. Be fun to get that $5,000. All right, Mike, let's look back to the game against the Wild a couple of days ago. Man, that was a slog. That was hard to watch. Minnesota's style of hockey, it's brutal, my friend.
Dreadful. They just want to just muck up the ice. They want to forget about dragging you in the mud. Hockey, they want to drag you into the slush. They want to just turn the ice into slush and slow you down. And it's something that the Avalanche, maybe it's not the worst thing that the Avalanche got exposed to that style, because you may find that there are going to be teams come playoff time that are just going to make the conscious decision, look, we can't skate with these guys over the course of 7 games. We can't. So we're going to just try to clog up the neutral zone. We're going to always have a few guys back, and we're going to play rope-a-dope. You know, we're just going to play rope-a-dope hockey. We're going to just kind of play defensive-minded hockey. We'll hope that you make a mistake, and maybe we can come back and counter the other way. Kind of shades of what Seattle did a couple years ago. So maybe having a chance to play against Minnesota and get a taste of that, as aesthetically displeasing as it was as a hockey fan to have to watch it, might not be the worst thing, because you might be seeing shades of that, elements of that during the playoffs.
Yeah, I like that idea. And the Avs do manage to get a point, a late goal from Joel Kiviranta off a tip-in on a Sam Girard shot. But, Mike, my last thought on that game, 3-on-3 hockey in OT is always exciting. Only the Minnesota Wild could make a way to find 3-on-3 hockey so boring, almost like they were playing for a shootout. And then guess what? Their strategy worked brilliantly because the Avs' 2 shots in the shootout were not good, and Minnesota did beat Mackenzie Blackwood twice. But to have a boring 5-minute 3-on-3 is hard to do.
Yeah, you nailed it. I think you got. I was thinking the same thing as I was watching that overtime. They don't want to engage. They don't want to get caught up in an up and down type thing against the Avalanche skilled players. Better to get it to a shootout, and then we'll take our chances one-on-one. And it worked.
All right, Avalanche and Flames on Friday night. That will be the appetizer, though, to the big game Sunday at Ball Arena. What will the reaction be to Mikko Rantanen? I will be there. I will have you covered. I will have you covered at denversports.com. And Mile High Hockey will return on Tuesday for a full breakdown.